Hello students, Dr. John Schrage, and I'm going to be telling you today about how to connect between your computer, your laptop or your desktop or whatever, and Chesapeake, the Linux computer that we're going to be using for this class, if you have a Windows computer. If you have a Mac, there'll be a separate video for that, but if you're using a Windows computer, you're going to need to know this information. And this information is actually slightly modified from this, what they may have seen in other classes. If you're in, for example, ATS 315 with me, these instructions are slightly different. So we'll get that sorted out, okay, but let's talk about that for a moment. What we're going to be doing on Chesapeake is Chesapeake is a Linux computer. It is physically here in my office in Indiana, and you're going to be connecting to that computer using a software program called Putty. But over and above that, we need the ability of Chesapeake to be able to produce graphics on your computer screen. In general, a computer someplace else does not in general have permission to do things like produce graphics on your screen. So we're going to need to install special software that's going to let that happen. So let's walk through the steps as to how you're going to do this to make this work on to bring up these windows in on your laptop or your desktop or whatever you have. The first thing you're going to have to do is a one-time thing. You're going to need to install a new piece of software on your computer called Xming, X-M-I-N-G. And you just go to this webpage, sourceforge.net, projects Xming, to go get that. And let me show you what the webpage will look like. You should see something that looks like this. It's a safe source of information, safe source of programs to download. Watch out though, they have terrible ads on here. You want to actually touch this link here that says download Xming, not this which is downloading some piece of malware or whatever. You want to be very careful, make sure you download the thing you think you're downloading. So this is going to be a special piece of software that you're going to download and install and run on your computer. And when you have it installed and running, what it does is it's going to be allowing other computers, namely Chesapeake, to draw on your screen, to produce things like graphs and so on the screen. So go ahead and do that and set that up one time. That's just a one-time thing on your laptop to get that up and running. Secondly, one time you need to go and install a piece of software called Putty. Putty is an important program in the world of computer programming. It is a program that you run on a PC that allows you to connect to a distant computer running Linux. So you're going to need to install it and configure it. Let me show you where you get it. You get the program Putty from a website called putty.org, Putty.org. And from there you're just going to follow this link that says download Putty. And I believe it's the first choice you have. There's actually lots of different versions of Putty and so on, but you just want to download putty.exe. A billion people around the world use Putty every day. It's not like it's going to have malware or anything like that. It's a very safe piece of software. Download and install this program. One time. You don't have to do this every time you're running the program or anything like that. Once it's downloaded, though, you're going to need to configure it. Now, students who took ATS 315 or are in ATS 315 right now, where we do this a lot, you have yours almost completely set up. I will help you see what the difference is here. But let me show you how this works. Now on this computer here, I start Putty by typing this. But however you want to, if you make a shortcut on your desktop or you pin it to your taskbar or whatever, I don't care, however you want to do it. You're going to get this Putty configuration. Now I have a whole bunch of computers already set up, but I just deleted actually the setup information for Chesapeake so that we can get that set up together. So let me walk you through here the steps that it takes to set up Putty so that you'll one time have it all set up correctly to connect to Chesapeake. In this box here that says hostname, I want you to type SCHRAGEJ, that's my last name and then my first initial, SCHRAGEJ.ddns.net. That's actually on the outside world. That is actually the name of this computer that we're going to be connected to. It's my last name because that's my provider. ddns.net is my provider, and the name is just my account name actually. But whatever. Anyway, fill that in there for host name. Where it says Save Sessions, type Chesapeake. This is going to be the name that you click on when you want to connect to Chesapeake. Then, over here under this category window, you see where there is a thing that says Connection. You may have to open it up, and you'll see that there's a section here called SSH. If you open that section up, there's a section inside of there called X11. X11 is the standard that is used to communicate graphics information across from one computer to another. And we need to enable that. By default, that is turned off, and we are going to enable that connection. It says enable X11 forwarding. In other words, Chesapeake can send your computer instructions to draw on the screen, and you'll be okay. All right. In the same way, then, where it says in this category window, you'll want to connect. You want to click on session. You have to actually usually scroll up to get there. So you're back at this place where you put in shruggyj.ddns.net in the host name and where you put the name Chesapeake here. Go ahead now and just click Save. And it has now created a saved session over here under Chesapeake. And that will be there as long as you keep Putty installed on your computer now. Now when you want to go ahead and use Chesapeake, here, I'll close this window up. I'm going to launch Putty again. You know, like this is, I'm ready to work on my homework for my project 1 for ATS 564/ERG 301. You're going to just double click on Chesapeake. And it'll bring up a window here that is for logging in to the Linux computer Chesapeake, which is, you know, physically way far away from you in Indiana. Now I'm going to log in with my account. You're going to log in with your account, which is your CreightonNet ID and the password that I sent you. It is not your blue password. Use the ID that I sent you and the password that I sent you, and then you're going to change the password. You're going to change the password the first time you log in. It may actually even just right away demand it. I don't remember if I have set it up that way or not. It may actually demand, okay, this is your first time logging in, change your password. If it doesn't, the command to change a password in Linux is PASSWD. PASSWD. Type that PASSWD in there and hit enter, and it'll walk you through. It'll tell you to put in your old password, it'll tell you to put in a new password, it'll ask you to repeat the password, things like that. You expect all that kind of stuff. Okay, I won't do that because I don't want to change my password right now. How do you know it's working? Well, for one thing, you are on a Linux computer right now, and you can do any of the commands that we're going to be learning about in this class. Well, that is not what I want you to do right now. I want you to verify that you actually have this connection between your computer and Chesapeake in such a way that you can get graphics. And there's a simple, stupid little program on a Linux computer that lets you test that. That silly program is called XEyes. It's just the letter X and then eyes, like eyeballs. E-Y-E-S. E-Y-E-S. So the program is called XEyes. And it is only there to test your connection. Do you have an X11 connection between your laptop and Chesapeake, which is hundreds of miles away? And if you touch that and hit enter, what you're going to do, okay, in my case it brought it up in behind. Let me show it to you here. It brings up this stupid little program called XEyes that is just this pair of googly eyes that always is watching the mouse. A stupid program. Kind of fun to play with, but a stupid program. But for that to work, think of all the fancy schmancy stuff that's going on. Chesapeake knows where your mouse is. Chesapeake knows where it's positioned on the screen. It knows where this window is on the screen. It can draw on your window. A whole lot is going on behind the scenes for this to work. This program, XEyes, is now a miracle. A computer, hundreds of miles from where you are, knows things like where your mouse is and where the window is positioned and, you know, all kinds of details about that. XEyes proves that things are working. And if XEyes is working, you're going to be able to bring up graphs when we write programs and so on. Alright, so when you are done playing with XEyes and this has worked for you, go back, click on your window that is open to Chesapeake, and hit Control-C. Control-C breaks you out of a program in Linux. Now, you are logged into a Linux computer here. You can do all the wonderful, amazing things that we're going to be learning about, like writing programs and making plots and all that kind of stuff, but we're not ready for any of that yet. Okay, for now, get logged in to Chesapeake, change your password to something so that you don't have the one I sent you, and test to see if XEyes is working. If XEyes is working, you correctly have Xming set up. Xming is what gave your computer permission to accept those instructions that are coming off the network and so on in the form of X11 instructions to produce those graphs. If that's all working, you're great and you're ready to log out by typing exit and closing up. And you're in good shape. When you reboot your computer, Xming won't be running. You will have to start Xming each time you're ready to work on your class. Whenever you want to connect though to Chesapeake, just go ahead and fire up Putty and Chesapeake will be right there on your list of save sessions. What if you already are in a class with me and you have a connection to Chesapeake, like in ATS 315? Some students are in ATS 315 you want to just make a quick modification to your settings in on Putty. Go ahead, click on Chesapeake, but load the settings, and then go over here to SSH, to X11, and mark you want to enable X11 forwarding. Okay, the students who are like in ATS 315 don't have that set yet. Then go back to your sessions and save it with that marked. And now you're good to go too. Okay? So whether you're in ATS 315 and you've been doing this without the X11 stuff, or whether this is all new to you, now you have the information you need. Alright. Log in to Chesapeake, change your password, test XIs, log out, and send me an email telling me to log out using the exit command, and then send me an email saying it worked. Alright. Please let me know if you have any questions. This has been Dr. John Shiraki.